Have you ever, like, stumbled upon something so unexpected? You know, it just kind of shifts your whole perspective.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me with Kavalan Whiskey.
Oh, really?
Taiwan, a place we usually think of for incredible tea, right?
Right.
Is now making world-class whiskey.
Wow.
Award-winning whiskey that's making people around the world kind of rethink what they thought they knew about whiskey.
That's amazing.
So today we're going deep into the world of Kavalan to really understand how this liquid gold, as they call it, is really reshaping the landscape of really good whiskey.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, it's a story of defying expectations.
Yeah.
We're so used to thinking about Scotch or Japanese whiskey when we talk about the top shelf stuff,
Right.
the world-class spirits.
Of course.
But then Kavalan comes along and just shakes things up.
Yeah.
It's proving that excellence can really come from anywhere.
And it's not just that they're, making good whiskey. They're actually winning awards.
Yeah.
They're going head-to-head with these distilleries that have been around for centuries.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember this, but back in 2015,
Oh, yeah?
their Solist Vinho Barrique expression won World's Best Single Malt Whiskey.
Yeah, that was huge.
And that's not just a win for them. That sent ripples through the entire industry.
Exactly.
It was like everyone had to stop and take notice.
It was a real turning point.
Yeah.
Everyone had to take Taiwanese whiskey seriously after that.
Can you imagine being in Scotland?
Oh, my God.
At one of those, those distilleries that's been there for hundreds of years?
Right.
And hearing that a Taiwanese distillery just snagged that title?
Yeah.
What do you think the impact of that win really was?
I mean, it was massive.
Yeah.
It put Kavalan on the map for sure.
Yeah.
It also kind of opened the door for other Asian distilleries
Oh, interesting.
to start gaining some international recognition.
Oh.
I mean, suddenly the world was looking at this little island saying, wait a minute, they're making incredible whiskey over there.
Yeah. So where did it all begin?
Right.
Is this like a group of, rogue distillers or some ancient family recipe?
Not quite.
Okay.
Kavalan is actually produced by the King Car Group.
Okay.
It's a company that was established in 2005.
Okay. So fairly recent.
Yeah, pretty new.
Okay.
They set up their distillery in Yilan County.
Mm-hmm.
It's a region in Taiwan known for its really pure water and a subtropical climate.
Okay, so we got those kind of key ingredients there, right, for a good whiskey.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd call Taiwan's climate typical for making whiskey.
You're right. It's not what you'd expect.
Right.
And that's where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Because most people, they think that a hot and humid climate like Taiwan's, it would be bad for aging whiskey.
Right. You'd think it'd be too fast or something.
But Kavalan, they did.
Yeah.
They flipped that assumption on its head.
So they're using that to their advantage.
Exactly.
Interesting.
The heat actually speeds up the aging process.
Yeah.
So they can develop these really complex flavors much faster than you could in a cooler climate.
Oh, wow.
So think about it. They don't have to wait decades, like some Scotch whiskeys do, to get that same depth and richness.
Huh.
It's really cool, and it lets them innovate and refine their techniques at a much faster pace, too.
I see. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
they've turned what most people would consider a negative into like a secret weapon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
So that explains why they've been able to kind of rise to fame so quickly. But
Right.
what about the taste?
Right.
What makes Kavalan different from, let's say, a Scotch or a Japanese whiskey?
Well, it's a few things.
Okay.
It starts with their approach to cask selection. They use ex-bourbon barrels, sherry casks, even wine casks.
Oh, wow.
And each one of those imparts its own unique character to the whiskey. But it goes beyond just using different types of casks.
So there's a real philosophy behind this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're not just throwing whiskey in a bunch of different barrels to see what happens.
No, they're very intentional about it.
Okay.
They're known for experimenting with different wood types, toasting levels, and even unique finishing techniques. They're always pushing the boundaries, And that's what leads to those really rich and nuanced flavors.
Okay, so tell me more about those flavors.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about some specific expressions. Let's dive in and figure out what makes each one stand out.
Okay.
We've got to start with that award-winning Solist Vinho Barrique, right?
Yeah.
The one that put them on the map. What's that experience like?
All right, so imagine this. A symphony of flavors, right?
Okay.
You got these luscious, fruity notes, hints of caramel and vanilla, all kind of tied together with this touch of spice.
Wow.
It's a beautiful example of how Kavalan uses those wine casks to really create something unique and special.
That's awesome. So it sounds very complex and layered.
Oh, yeah.
What about their soulless sherry cask?
Okay, yeah.
I love a good sherry bomb.
Oh, you're going to love this one. The sherry cask takes you in a completely different direction. We're talking rich, dark chocolate, dried fruits like raisins and figs,
Oh, yeah.
and this beautiful nuttiness that lingers on your palate.
Okay.
It's a whiskey that begs you to just sit back, relax, and savor every sip.
All right. You're making me thirsty.
Uh-huh.
But let's say someone is new to Kavalan. Maybe they've never tried it before.
Yeah.
Where should they start?
I think a great starting point would be the Kavalan Classic.
Okay.
It's a really wonderful introduction to their signature style.
All right.
You get that really smooth, approachable character, beautiful tropical fruit sweetness, which seems to be a hallmark of Kavalan, and it finishes long and elegant.
That's cool. So it's a real crowd pleaser.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, nice.
Right.
Now, I've heard some things about the Kavalan Distillery itself. Some people say it's an experience that goes beyond just tasting the whiskey.
It is.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, the distillery itself is nestled in the Yilan countryside.
Okay.
It's beautiful, lush green landscapes.
Wow.
It's quite a sight to see. They offer guided tours where you can see the whole process,
Nice.
from those big copper stills to the warehouses where they age the whiskey in oak.
So they've really brought like their natural surroundings into the experience.
Oh, absolutely. It's about connecting the whiskey to its origins, immersing yourself in the environment that creates it.
I see, yeah. So it's more than just using that pure spring water we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
It's the whole place, the whole environment.
Yeah, it all comes together.
Now listen, I'm all about the hands-on experiences.
Okay.
Is there any way to really dive deep into Kavalan beyond just a tour?
Well, for the adventurous types, they have this DIY whiskey blending workshop.
Oh, hold on. I get to be a master blender.
Well, for a day, yeah.
Sign me up. Tell me everything.
All right, so they give you a selection of different single malt bases.
Okay.
Each one has been aged in different casks. You'll have ex-bourbon, sherry, you name it.
Wow.
They give you all the tools and guidance you need to create your own blend.
So it's like a choose-your-own-adventure for whiskey?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You could experiment with different ratios, try different combinations until you find that perfect flavor that you're looking for.
Wow.
Then you get to bottle it, seal it up, and even design your own label for it.
Oh, man. I can only imagine the bragging rights with that. Having your own whiskey that you blended yourself.
It's more than just bragging rights, though. It's about really understanding what goes into crafting a great whiskey.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've talked about how they've kind of come up so fast. We talked about how they're using the climate.
Yeah.
And now we've even talked about, blending your own whiskey.
Right.
But for me, it always comes back to the taste.
Of course.
Like, what are the things that set Kavalan apart? Like its DNA, its essence. What is it about this whiskey that makes it different?
That's a great question. It's interesting because Kavalan doesn't really fit neatly into those traditional whiskey categories.
Okay.
Like when I think Scotch, I think peat and smoke.
Right.
Japanese whiskey balance and refinement.
Yeah.
But Kavalan, they've kind of carved out their own unique space.
Okay.
And one thing that really stands out for me is their focus on fruit-forward flavors.
Ah, so that tropical fruit sweetness we've been talking about.
Yes.
That's a deliberate choice.
Absolutely. It's like they've bottled up the essence of Taiwan's climate. You'll often find notes of mango, pineapple, guava, all those vibrant fruits that thrive in that environment. And it adds a complexity and a brightness you don't often find in other whiskeys.
That's fascinating. So they're not sacrificing like depth or complexity to get those fruit flavors.
No, not at all. They manage to balance those bright fruit notes with the richness and spice that comes from the oak. It's that interplay that keeps you coming back.
I see. So they've really challenged our ideas about where a great whiskey can come from.
They have.
Yeah.
And their success is a reminder that there's always something new to discover.
Yeah.
Things that might surprise us and broaden our horizons.
I like that. A reminder to stay curious and open-minded, try new things.
Exactly. Who knows what else is out there just waiting to be discovered?
Well, speaking of discoveries,
Yeah?
have you had Kavalan?
Of course, I've done my research.
What are your thoughts?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I especially love the Solist Vinho Barrique.
Yeah.
That fruity, spicy complexity, it lives up to the hype.
I've got to agree. I've had a few drams myself.
Good.
And I'm very impressed.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
And that's really what we hope this deep dive does for our listeners.
Yeah.
Sparks that curiosity, gets people to try new things, and maybe even challenge their own ideas about what makes a great whiskey.
I love it. So to our listeners out there, go on your own Kavalan adventure, find a bottle, try it, let us know what you think.
We want to hear from you.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. It's the one that put them on the map.
Yeah.
What's the experience like?
You get these luscious fruity notes, hints of caramel and vanilla.
Oh, nice.
All underscored by just a touch of spice.
Okay.
It's a really beautiful example of how they use those wine casks to create something, truly unique.
Yeah, it sounds really complex and layered.
Oh, yeah.
What about their soulless sherry cask?
Okay.
I'm a sucker for a good sherry bomb.
Oh, you're going to love this one.
Does it deliver?
This one takes you in a completely different direction.
Okay.
Think rich, dark chocolate,
Okay.
dried fruits like raisins and figs,
Mm-hmm.
and then this lovely nuttiness that just lingers on the palate.
Oh, wow.
It's a whiskey that you just want to sit back and savor.
Okay, you're making me thirsty.
Uh,
Let's say someone is new to Kavalan.
yeah.
Where would you recommend they start?
I'd say go for the Kavalan Classic. It's
Yeah.
a really great introduction to their style.
Mm-hmm.
It's smooth, approachable. You get that tropical fruit sweetness that Kavalan is known for.
Yeah.
And it finishes long and elegant.
So a real crowd pleaser.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Hmm?
Now, I've heard whispers about the Kavalan Distillery itself.
Oh, yeah, the distillery is amazing.
Some say it's an experience that goes beyond just tasting the whiskey.
It really is.
What can you tell us about it?
Well, it's nestled in the Yilan countryside.
Okay.
It's beautiful, lush, green landscapes all around.
Oh, wow.
They offer these guided tours.
Okay.
You can see the entire process, from the copper stills to the warehouses where the whiskey's aging.
So they've really kind of integrated those natural surroundings
Absolutely.
into the whole Kavalan experience.
It's about connecting with the whiskey's origins,
Yeah.
immersing yourself in the environment that shapes its character.
I see. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's more than just that pure spring water.
Right.
It's the whole place.
It's the whole experience.
Okay.
Cool.
But let's be honest. I'm all about the hands-on experiences.
Okay.
Anything beyond just a tour?
Well, they offer this DIY whiskey blending workshop.
Hold on. I get to play master blender.
You do.
Sign me up. Tell me everything.
They give you a selection of different single malt bases,
Okay.
all aged in various casks. So you'll have ex-bourbon sherry, you name it.
Wow.
And they give you the tools and the guidance to actually create your own blend.
That's so cool.
That's really fun.
So it's like a choose-your-own-adventure for whiskey lovers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You experiment with different ratios, try different combinations until you hit that perfect flavor profile.
Oh, wow.
Then you get to bottle your creation, seal it up, and even personalize the label.
I can already imagine the bragging rights.
Oh, yeah.
Sharing a whiskey that you blended yourself.
Right.
Talk about a one-of-a-kind souvenir.
It's more than just a souvenir, though.
Yeah.
It's a way to really connect with the craftsmanship that goes into making a truly exceptional whiskey.
For sure. Okay, so we've covered their rise to fame,
Right.
their innovative use of Taiwan's unique climate,
Yeah,
and even the opportunity to create our own blends.
that's right.
But for me, it always comes back to the taste.
Of course.
What is it about Kavalan
Mm-hmm.
that really makes it stand out?
Yeah.
When I think about Scotch, I think about peat and smoke.
Right.
When I think about Japanese whiskey, I think about balance and refinement. What's the essence of Kavalan?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Mm.
It's interesting because Kavalan doesn't really fit neatly into those traditional categories.
Okay.
They've kind of carved out their own space in the world of whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that really stands out to me is their emphasis on fruit,
Oh, really?
those fruit-forward flavors.
So that tropical fruit sweetness that we keep coming back to,
Exactly.
that's intentional.
Oh, yeah. It's like they've bottled the essence of Taiwan's subtropical climate.
Huh.
You often find notes of mango, pineapple, guava, all those kind of bright, vibrant fruits
Yeah.
that grow really well in that environment.
Yeah.
And it adds this layer of complexity and brightness that you don't always find in whiskeys from other places.
So they're not sacrificing depth or complexity to get that fruitiness?
Not at all.
Yeah.
They managed to balance those bright fruit notes with the richness and spice you get from the oak aging.
It's a magic trick.
It is. It's really fascinating.
So Kavalan has really challenged our ideas about what great whiskey can be.
They have. They've proven that, innovation and excellence can come from anywhere.
And that there's always something new to discover.
Exactly. Things that can surprise us and really broaden our horizons.
I love that. It's a good reminder to stay curious and open-minded.
Absolutely.
To venture beyond what we're used to and embrace the unexpected.
Try new things.
Yeah. Who knows what else is out there waiting for us to discover?
Right.
Well, speaking of discoveries, I'm curious, have you tried Kavalan yourself?
Oh, of course I've done my homework.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I especially love the Solist Vino Barrique,
Oh, yeah.
the one we were talking about earlier.
The award winner.
Yeah, that fruity, spicy complexity. It really lives up to the hype.
I have to agree. I've had a few drams of that one myself.
Good.
And I was very impressed.
I'm glad to hear it. That's what we want.
Yeah.
And that's really what we hope this deep dive will do for our listeners.
Absolutely.
Spark some curiosity, encourage people to explore, to try new things.
Yeah.
And maybe challenge their own preconceived notions about what makes a truly great whiskey.
So to our listeners out there,
Yes.
we encourage you to go on your own Kavalan adventure.
Find a bottle.
Seek it out. Give it a try. Let us know what you think.
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
You know, we always love hearing from you guys. So until next time, happy sipping.